Hello. Welcome back to Fractured Shadows, a lovely little game of online homebrew Daggerheart with online friends. I am the host and GM of the game, Shade, also known as PlagueDoctorShade. And here with us, as per usual, is my lovely friends, VoodooVixen and Thorn. Hi, it's been a couple weeks since we last played.
Hello.
I hope you remember where we left off, because I certainly do. But yeah, sorry about the delayed start. There were some technical difficulties, and there still technically are. Because aside from the PCs that I personally made, most of the other NPCs don't have pictures anymore. They are just blank slates. They are all default NPC number 5, like Mambo number 5, but worse.
Avoiding them.
Yeah, so if we do happen to go into combat, I do apologize for the lack of visual appeal. Get over it. We are not professional in any sense, and this happened last second. So, couple things before we start, as per usual. First and foremost, Fractured Shadows is a mature tabletop experience. It will include depictions such as drug and alcohol use, sexual themes, psychological torments, gore, body horror, and potentially much, much more. I will warn you when it happens, maybe, possibly, but you've been warned regardless. So do keep that in mind if you continue to watch. Secondly, we do not own anything aside from the world and the characters that dwell within it. Everything that is here is of mine or my player's own make, aside from things such as music and art, save for the portraits that you see. So we do not own or claim ownership of any of that outside of what you can physically see with our characters. And last but certainly not least, if you like what you see, please do me a huge favor by liking, commenting, subscribing, and ringing the bell notification so you never ever miss an upload. That's basically it. That being said, are we ready to get started, fellas?
Yeah.
I sure am.
Mm-hmm.
Most excellent. All right, guys. So last we left off in Fractured Shadows, specifically in Bright Willow Haven. You guys have recently confirmed with Rose Dove that you have finished your contract with the bear and explaining all the little specific intricacies surrounding it, thanks to Leonin's usage of speaking to animals, and further explaining the situation that the bear just wants to have its own territory. Rose Dove, shortly after your meeting ended, told the hunters that were in the charter hall within the main guild hall to go and do something, which all of them very quickly sprinted off, chirping to Murkon that they are now back in business, sort of. Giving him thanks. She informed them that she is going to speak, or was going to speak, with the representative of the Merchants Guild to make sure that they are appropriately paid for what they did and they accomplished. Later on, as they left the guild hall, they all went separate directions, with Murkon heading to the bar, Raylig heading over towards a seamstress, a tailor shop, to replace a defaced shawl, and Leonin and Akuji heading over in the direction of the blacksmith to learn more about the weapon that they procured from the bear's hide. As they very briefly talked to the blacksmith, who was actually heading their way towards the direction of the Tipsy Tinkerer Tavern, Juniper, the blacksmith, told Leonin and Akuji that the weapon was not of this plane, and despite its very rustic and old in appearance, was very, very durable, and it would take a lot more resources for her to even try to quote unquote fix or change it. And after showing it, that she would hand it over to the appropriate people within the Adventurers League to look at it further, as she does work directly with them. On the northern side of the town, or the market district, as it was getting late, Raylig happened to drop by a goblin merchant who accosted him very harshly for getting a fellow person's in the town's shawl wet with urine, that being Jezerine. And in order to essentially pay her back as she was closing up her shop, Raylick offered to either buy her or get commissioned a new shawl, which the goblin merchant very much so told him, basically all of your money if you want to get this done right now at this hour. And unfortunately, Raylig begrudgingly handed over his funds to right his wrong before sadly making his way back to the Tipsy Tinker. And within the Tipsy Tinker, as they all came back, Murkon was already waiting, speaking to the barkeeper, whose name I keep forgetting because I keep forgetting all my NPCs' names. Beatrix, who recounted exactly what was going on. And in order to celebrate, he ordered a ale for people and himself mainly, but then asked Beatrix for a special drink, which he shared with the rest of the gang, including Ogren. Fun was had, a song was sang, and familiar faces came to visit the intrepid band, with Murkon and Leonin once again getting lucky. Leonin furthering this dynamic between him and a noble member of Bright Willow Haven, named Lilith Brightwillow, who he learned more about, being that she is one of the only nobles in the actual town that is essentially the main noble family that settled the town with everyone else way long time ago. And Murkon got extremely lucky with his with the barkeeper herself, as they shared a lovely evening together. But before the evening was up, the party was told by Lilandros that the Mayor Antoine Grift and the head of the watch, Julius Copperbrand, wanted to speak to them. So in the morning, they went up to the town hall, where they met Julius and Antoine, who told them that the bandit that they fought within the actual tavern themselves wanted to see them. And Julius very expectantly asked if they could help him interrogate. They soon found out that there was definitely something awry within the town, as they told Julius to leave this bandit in their own private space in an interrogation room, told them information regarding a mysterious group known as the Shadow Bark Brigade. And this is where we pick up after a very long recap, as you guys are still within the interrogation chamber with the bandit. And this is when he just finished asking his question to all of you, to see if you knew about the Shadowbark Brigade. Raylig, because of your history in Londor, go ahead and roll me a knowledge check. And I'm going to use a fear, because this is something that you probably would not have studied, but I will allow you to use your thing. Go ahead and roll that at disadvantage.
Okay. So does this still apply? So it's just flat.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay.
So you do get a
Monster.
hope. You're not sure if it's because you're dialing in too hard with the bad cop act or the intense cop, as Akuji, you would know this as well because you were there. That Rayleigh suddenly shifted gears and essentially like went full almost like threatening this guy with the fiery pits of hell. As you guys started your interrogation, everyone was kind of like baffled. But for Rayleigh, it sounds familiar. Shadowbark Brigade. It's on the tip of your tongue. You know it had something to do with a job involving the necromancer cult and coven that was in Londor that was rooted out. But you can't recall the details.
I think the flames flicker a bit as he's like thinking back. And his like brain process is changing. But then it comes straight back and he's just like, well, tell us who they are. How are they relevant?
Well, irrelevant for a lot of different reasons, mate. I gotta know, see if I can trust you lot for this information. Are you going to tell that metal man everything I say?
And you see him very briefly look towards the other side of the mirror that's just showing your reflection from the room. This is very much as I said before, a very typical interrogation room where there's a metal floor and a metal ceiling, but wooden walls. And you can see some of the scorch marks from Rayleigh's little flame intimidation tactic that are kind of going up against this glass. Middle table, metal chairs, etc.
I believe Murkon did check that Julius had left.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You did. But he's just confirming. You can see that there is a... yeah, you won't have to roll for this. All of you can see, thanks to Rayleigh's intimidation, that this guy who you fought, Murkon, almost to the death, looks terrified.
You're really that scared of the robot that you're willing to tell us anything as long as he's not around?
Well, it's not necessarily just him, mate, that I'm terrified of. It's who's controlling him that I'm terrified of. Because that man has a lot of gimmicks, gadgets and gizmos that... Let's just say that the people up in Ingenium would be kind of thrown aback at how well done they are. But if you lot are actually serious about this, I can tell you. I can't go back to the watch, though.
I think Murkon will look back to the group and see how they're absorbing that, if they look like they'll be kind of in agreement with that, or if they're maybe looking to say something else.
What happens if the watch learns of what you tell us?
Well, as far as I've been in Bright Willow, they seem to be part of the Adventurers League, right? Many of them seem to be on the up and up, volunteer work. It's typically how this town is run, as far as I've seen. If the watch knows, it's gonna go back to that blowhard air fella, the guy that actually leads the league. And if it gets back to him, well, it's gonna get back to this little fucking council they have in this place. And if it gets back to them, well, Julius is gonna know and I'm fucked.
Marcon immediately just kind of like leans in as soon as he mentions Sebastian as a blowhard. All right then, you have my word. The robot's gone, so share what you know. Kind of rolls his hand towards him.
He does look at you, Murkon, then looks to the other three.
So far, you've been telling the truth. So we'll take what you say into consideration with that light.
As bright as a crown can be on a shiny day, mate. That's how truthful I'm being. Every last bloody crown. I'll be honest. I don't know completely everything about them. But what I do know is that there are 3 leaders that call themselves a cabal. And they do not like the people that lead this place. Not one bit. I don't know why, but all I know is that I was hired on as an experienced merc. They needed arms, they needed more people that were loyal, they wanted to test out to see who was willing to get the job done. So, I had a couple of me mates cause a ruckus down in the tavern. I'll admit,
he does like make a screwed up face.
I will admit that I didn't expect them to get too fucking handsy with the barkeeper, who I later learned is the fucking owner, but can't control all the lads. A bit young and spry and a bit stupid. We all were at some point. But we were getting paid a lot. So, crowds kept coming. They did whatever they thought. They were on top of the world. And we were told to essentially make sure that we can get on the inside of the watch. And we did. Did a right good job at it. What do you expect when a couple of sellswords come in, try to join up with the Adventurers League, and then know that the Adventurers League here shares the same fucking spot as the damn watch? Volunteer work? I thought it was a bit more organised than that, but apparently it's not. Lo and behold, we found out that the watch captain is Julius himself. And that's when the, we'll call him an artificer. That's when the artificer fella, elven lad with a scar on his face, and a large arm made of bronze or copper or iron, I couldn't tell, it was large. Larger than his bloody torso. Once we told him that, he said he would do the rest of the work, and, well, we report to Julius. And, needless to say, if he is listening in, and that elven prick is listening in, and I ain't worried about getting paid at this point.
So you told me this artificer is still in town then, or at least hanging around it?
As far as I know, we usually meet at night. Every location is different. He's pretty bloody thorough on it. Last time I actually talked to him personally, he had a really large armored person. I couldn't really get a good look at him. They were wearing a helmet, they had a large hammer. But aside from that, they were also pretty well cloaked. He didn't speak much, but did say that wanted me to maintain the position within the Tinkerer while the other things were going at work, and loyalty would be proven soon enough. That's pretty much all he gave me before you lot rocked in. Caused us a ruckus. Broke me bloody arm. I'll admit, Jester, you throw a good bloody punch.
Most of the punches I throw are usually for monsters, so he kind of shrugs at it.
Aye, that makes a lot more sense. But aside from that, can't really say I know much outside of what I was told. I guess as good as mine. Could be in the
That
woods.
Sorry, hold on. What were you saying?
Oh, that doesn't explain much about the, what did you call them? The Blackwoods?
The Shadowbark Brigade.
Ah, yeah.
No, it does not. And I think they did that on purpose. So I was saying, though, if I had to take a right guess at where they might be, couldn't go too far. They're either in the bloody woods or they're all about town. Disguised, maybe in the Watch, maybe amongst the Adventurers League, maybe even in the Charter for all I know.
And yet the other one you're certain of is Julius.
Aye. He's essentially... You know what a dead drop is?
Can't say I'm familiar with that terminology.
Right. Essentially, it's a place that you go to receive orders. If you're an assassin, on the edge merc, bit of a low life, maybe in the many thieves guilds that are among this place. You pick up a contract, and then they'll give you payment half up front, half in the dead drop. Julius was the half up front, but he also acted as the dead drop. Really weird system, but it worked out. It's weird that I checked in when the artificer lad didn't want to. And when he checks in personally, it's rather important. Last time I said I talked to him, like I told you, he told us to maintain that profile in the tavern. And that's the last I heard of him. It's about a week ago, I believe.
Archon kind of taps his finger on the desk as he seems to be a little bit lost in thought. So if they're in the woods and they have some sort of connection with the council, what exactly is it that they're against that you are aware of in terms of a reason that's good enough for them to go to such lengths to go against the people here?
Honestly, mate, I wish I could tell you. They were so bloody cryptic when I spoke with them personally. The elf lad didn't even look me in the eye, didn't even give me his fucking name, for God's sake. As far as I know, he's mentioned retribution, righting wrongs, and testing loyalty, and that's about it. Well, I couldn't give you a lick of sense to know what that entailed, but he definitely seemed rightfully pissed off about something.
Lots of theories we can pull, but there's nothing unless we go and talk to them. You mentioned the woods. How far were you when you met them? Or how close were you to it, if you were at all?
He chuckles.
That's the thing. That's the only inclination I even know about them possibly being in the woods is just on the location itself. I never met them near the woods. I met them in random spots in the town. Near the town hall, outside of the tavern, in the merchant's quarter, and a couple alleyways near the crystal. Didn't matter. They were pretty precise in meeting in different locations every time I got a new drop. Wasn't a lot, but Work's work.
Raylick's writing down all of these locations for future reference. Oh. Marcon, if you're looking for a connection, the mayor did mention that before they settled down in Bright Willow Haven, they were an adventuring group that dealt with a demon cult. And from what I recall of the brigade, they have similar dealings. It's possible the animosity could stem from there. Perhaps they were connected to that cult that they dealt with in their prior days.
Reasonable. However, if we're talking about retribution and testing loyalties, I have my own theories, but again, only theories. Mercon taps the table again as he starts to stand up. Well, unless you all have any questions to ask him, I think that answer's good enough for me to get started on whatever the hell's going on here. Well, that being said, I can't just bring nothing back to Julius, or else he's going to, well, you gotta question that as well. You think it's a good question.
You probably want something of merit, so go ahead and ask, and I'll give as much as I can.
Mercon, he thinks to himself a little bit, starts to grin. Any of you have anything to ask before I ask my question?
More so to you, Mercon. Well, and to him, I guess. You said you hadn't heard from your partners in about a week, right?
Aye, that was the last time that Julius spoke to me about a job. Just to maintain the premise until something larger happened. Maintain that and essentially control the tavern with the lads. Like I said, a test of loyalty of some sort, I don't know.
Was one of your partners larger with a big great sword?
No.
Okay. Then never mind then.
Mercon looks at the rest of the group to see if anyone else has anything to ask.
Nope.
Anything else, Gary? Oh.
I do
All right,
believe
then.
Statica's AFK, so go ahead.
All right, then. I'll ask one question and one question only, and I think that'll be enough for us to get something to Julius. What
Right.
was the name of the man who started to harass Beatrice?
Ah, right. Well, there were a couple of them. I'm assuming you're talking about the one that actually touched her, right?
Precisely.
He's like shakes his head. He's like, you can tell he has like the disappointed dad look in his eyes.
Oh, God.
That one is used to be an ex-bandit before he actually joined up with us. Wanted to make his mark as an actual sellsword and not a common thug. Because old habits don't they die hard.
All right, job he did.
Yeah, right. Well, I expect his hand will be cut off by the end of the day, but if you need to know his name is, it's Jeff. Something simple like that, I believe.
Well, I'll see if there's any Jeffs that are still around. That'll give me something to bring to Julius in the meantime. With that said, I suppose it doesn't hurt for us to look into this further. Go by the description by what you gave me. You're gonna find someone that's gonna be quite unique in appearance, and hopefully we'll look into it.
Right. Well, I wish you luck in that matter. Just...
That being said,
Hmm?
I don't know if you're just a good liar, a good performer, or if what you're saying is really true. That being said, if we were to find out that you were lying, well, if there's anything I like less than anybody I've ever dealt with, is a person who likes to set out a red herring. And let me tell you, if that's the case here, I don't think even Julia should be close to the next worry you should have.
He does slowly nod. I can assure you, mate, that your phone companion already scared the shit out of me with the fiery pits of the hells. I think I'm good.
I feel like as Marcon is like saying that bit, like after he's like, "Oh, if you're lying," the flames are like fading, and he's kind of just like tapping at Marcon's shoulder, stuttering a bit, just being like, "I can assure you, he's telling the truth."
You know what, Murkon? Go ahead. I gotta double check. It's been a while. Go ahead and roll an instinct check on this guy to insight check him.
Sure thing. Let's do it.
All right, awesome.
Well,
I mean, he definitely doesn't look like he's lying. He definitely is giving off the appearance, especially when he looks in Raylig's direction, that he is kind of scared. But you know, he's still getting that little inkling in the back. He's like, nah, he's just a bandit, bro. Fuck this guy. It's just that shadow of doubt.
well, whatever keeps you in that chair in the meantime. And Murkon just kind of shrugs as he looks to the door and then back to the group. We all ready then?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Ogren nods quietly.
All right then, on to the next work. I'll bring your buddy back in and I'll let him know that you been thoroughly dealt with and thoroughly talked to and thoroughly spanked. I don't know. We'll say something. All right then, we'll move on.
All right. He just quietly sits there with his broken arm. It's still chained up to the table as you guys walk out. Or rather knock on it, and then a watchman opens the door for you. And as you pass by the room where like another person would be watching, you do notice that there are two other watchmen in the room that have been watching this entire conversation go on. Essentially the observation room that's across from the interrogation room.
Does Murkon pick up anything odd about these extra guards watching and monitoring?
I mean, when you pass by them, they do look over to you and just give you a nod. It's up to you if you want to say anything, though. You would all notice this, of course, because you're passing by the room.
were they in a place? So were they basically in the same place that Julius was, where he would like like we know they were observing in this.
Yeah, you can see that in the little observation room. It's very basic. There's like a small little kiosk that organizes different like papers, like the papers. I don't remember. I don't know the actual like furniture piece. It's like a metal sorter for files, and you can see there's a large book on a desk, couple of books stacked over to the side, and you can see that one of them was writing in a journal. Specifically that larger book that's open. One of them is by the door, just kind of like watching. He has his weapon sheathed and his arms are crossed. The other one is like in the journal, like recounting this.
Murkon, with the same soft grin, makes his way over. I'm assuming you all heard that then. You got everything recorded and jotted down?
Yeah, of course. We're gonna be sending it to Julius later. Why?
No. Tell you the truth in there. He kind of leans over. Take it from me. I've heard a lot of lies in my life. I think that man's blowing a whole bunch of shite out from his mouth to really just throw off a trail. The only thing I can really believe in is the name of the man who packed a bow in the Gypsy Tinkerer. Otherwise, Shadowbark, usurpers. It's just a bunch of rubbish to, excite a bunch of adventurers. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, we would typically like to blow this out the window, but he seemed pretty honest considering what your friend did. We did see everything, and he does like motion over to Rayleigh with a nod. You did really well, Rayleigh, by the way. It's pretty impressive. Didn't expect that out of you, of all people.
Yes. We know everything in terms of fear and interrogations. Those aren't typically always the most accurate. Sometimes they just say whatever they can to get out of the fire, quite literally. Not true. No, Rayleigh was phenomenal. I don't know where the fuck that came from, to tell you the truth. I will not be sleeping well tonight knowing I am in the same party as this man. But that being said, let's just say for, ensuring Julius doesn't go off any false leads, you know how literal he is, let's just keep it towards the most relevant parts, the whole Shadowbark that just doesn't need to be let in. What do you say? He's trying very hard to convince them to delete that shit right now.
He does like look at you, and then he looks back to the other guard who just kind of shrugs.
This is on you. You're the recorder. I'm just the other observer. I'm not gonna say anything unless the cap asks me, so it's really up to you, boss. Fuck. Mr. Murkon, if I may. That is what you called yourself, correct?
That is my name, correct, yes.
Right. Are you telling me to scrub evidence?
Evidence would require something substantial. I mean, the words of a man with a broken nose and a broken arm who, comes from a whole bar of people that are drunk. Can you really tell that man is someone that a strange, big-armed, elf-faced man would entrust with such a deep plan of, alien dark magic? Do you really think that is a man who would ever do anything even remotely that important? Look at him. A man swings around something the size of a fence post as a weapon and calls himself a great warrior. Does that look like a man who knows what he's talking about in terms of building subterfuge?
What were you going to say,
Can Rayleigh try to help, convince that, it's just bad info, the stuff that the dude was saying, by, would this thing apply, basically?
Make a scene. Spend 3 hopes to temper. Yes, you can.
Okay,
which will basically
so I feel
add on or remove the difficulty it'll have. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Murkon's saying, he's just saying all this stuff, how do we even know this is good? And I feel like Raylick's been like standing wide-eyed at the watchman near the end of the back of the group. And he just blurts out, I am brave! Like he did before they walked in.
What?
It's like,
You see the watchman, just like he's about to stand up, and like you see his like hands go to his waist, which you see the side he's going towards are the manacles. But then as you blurt that out, suddenly Ray, like he like as he's talking, like, Mr. Mercon, you what? And he just suddenly turns over to you.
Mercon just don't turn, looks over to Ray.
Hold on, I think I actually have a fucking noise for this. Give me a
Oh,
second.
please. Please. Yeah, it's that specifically.
Oh, my
God.
god. Yeah. Yes, Rayleigh, you are quite brave. You did a what? Go ahead and roll your presence check, Mercon. And
And I
yes,
can I use my Midas' tongue to
yes, you can. I remember reading it, so go ahead.
Sweet, I'll spend the hope for that.
Go ahead and post that in the chat if you don't mind.
I shall. Give me 1 second. Midas' tongue. He can leverage his ability to make people feel better about themselves, to make his way into people's good sides, or to alleviate social evils felt to them. Mercon cleared his throat. Yes, listen, we're all doing great work, and the truth be told, I really do believe that you guys are very good at your jobs. I mean, you stood in place for Julius when he was, requested to step away. You are absolutely doing exactly as you're told to. I cannot agree more that there is definitely an important piece that you're bringing to this work. That being said, I, believe after everything we did in there to really get this stubborn bastard to talk, the last thing we really want is to waste any efforts on bringing information that just really doesn't bring any light to the true problem at hand, which is the whole ruckus they created. I mean, I guess you could say you could definitely note that he, talked a lot of weird conspiracies, but in terms of, information that is prevalent to this, it just doesn't make any sense. You understand what I'm talking about. You've heard false, confessions, false alibis. You're pretty, what that kind of stuff will be. Is there any doubt in your mind that lets you know that this is possibly that exact same issue at all? Anything?
He's like slowly nodding in agreement with you, Mercon, as you're working your way into his ear, essentially. Like, I suppose I used to be a watch captain sorts before I became an adventurer a long time ago. And you do notice he is an elf, by the way.
You remind me of a friend who was a watch captain. I mean, he was someone who I knew best sniffer out there. He could smell shite coming from a mouth from a mile away. I mean, that's just your job. I feel like you're not someone who's going to waste the time of someone as important as Julius is.
I suppose not, no. I mean, it does sound a bit rubbish, doesn't it? With all the talk about bandits in the woods. The only problem was that bear, and I recently learned you lot solved that. If you guys could solve that, you could probably get down to this if it was a problem, but... No, you're making a lot of sense, Mr. Mercon. He like slowly turns over to look down what he wrote. Yeah, Shadowbuck Brigade sounds like a bit of rubbish. It sounds like a bit of rubbish, doesn't it, mate? Yeah, definitely. It's, you could tell he's not paying attention to this conversation.
a little made up fiction. I mean, it just sounds like the Bright Willow, like reverse. You know what I mean? Let's all agree it's a little unoriginal, if you ask me.
Yeah, it does. Shadowbot Brigade in Bright Willow Haven, like the rivals of some shit.
Oh, it's ridiculous. All right. Well, yes, I think we did good work today. You know, we'll let them know about this Jeff individual. I'll speak with Bo myself to see if she would like to press charges of any sort, or see what she would like to have done. Otherwise, I think we can call it a day on that with that that nut job. Would you say?
Right, sure. I'll scratch all this stuff out then. Does seem a bit childish. Shadowbot Brigade, what was I thinking?
Oh,
You see him start to turn around as he takes the pen, just like, and then just circles Jeff with where you see clearly in the book Jeff dash molester. And that's pretty much it. He like circles that and checks it off. Right.
Fractured Shadows out of context moment. Jeff _ molester.
Jeff the molester versus Jeff the killer.
No Jeffs were harmed in the making of this Fractured Shadows.
My name is Jeff.
There we go. There's the joke. Thank you.
All right. I think Murkon satisfied with that. I think you did the right thing here. I think I appreciate you listening out to me and trusting your gut on this. In that sense, we'll go ahead and move on with what we got, and I'm sure Julius will be more than happy to hear we made some leadway with him. You all have yourself a good rest of your day.
Right. Have a good day. Yeah, see ya. And he'll go back to reviewing the stuff that he has to cross out because it's just a bunch of bullshit. And eventually you do see him just like, fuck it, and just the entire like page. And then you see him like take some scissors out and cut off the part where he marked Jeff and put it back in there. You guys, unless there's anything else you want to say to these two, you do walk out of the observation room. And as you do, you make your way out where Julius has led you before, and you actually see him standing near the exit, just idling back and forth on his heels, almost like a child. He does look in your direction, spotting that you guys are out of the interrogation room. Greetings, Silverbrook and company. How did it go?
Thumbs up.
Murkon nods. Yeah, we got the information out of him. We got a name for one of the main attackers at the bar, and so far we have everything that we need in terms of moving forward with doing whatever we need to do for processing these bandits. I don't think they're going to be much trouble for any good while, but I think we made some good work.
What name did they give?
We got a name Jeff. That was one of the man who put his hands on Beatrice.
Let me check the criminal database that is within my chassis. And you see his eyes glow for a brief moment as you see a bunch of odd figures cross it that none of you would understand. It's essentially code, but you see it kind of flicker across his his eyes, and then they pop back as his quote unquote irises look back again in your direction. We have a Jeff in the criminal database. One Jeff. What the fuck did I name him? Hold on. Jeff Firesworn. Is this the person you are talking about?
No, yeah, that sounds like a good name for a. That's a good name for a molester. Yes. Whoa.
What did you
Look
say,
over to Leonin.
Leo?
Oh, oh,
I said child molester.
You can hear the metallic version of this.
it's like bit crunched.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh Jesus!
Trying to get this man killed.
I beg your pardon.
Ignore him. No, I think that's the man you should be looking for in terms of this whole situation, and then we can call it good. Yes. While this is happening,
Okay.
Urkon is studying Julius as much as he can, getting his, getting like his build, getting his like different picks, and most importantly, kind of looking towards his like feet.
Okay.
He's essentially getting himself ready to, start finding anything he can to help him later, where he's going to follow and track him.
Okay. So I will show a picture of him again so you know exactly what Julius looks like for reference.
Yeah, I think that's great.
You had me at fate.
Why are you like this?
We really should have just
Okay.
went to New York City.
Okay. So that is what Julius looks like. You can see that his eyes are very clearly made of glass, but you can see like a bright light shining through them, and you can see like just very briefly, if you stare hard enough, you can see that he does actually have eyes that seem to be manufactured to kind of look like a human's. And you can see behind the glass blinking. He is very robust. You can see that he has a very large bronze or copper, it's kind of hard to tell because it's old, copper-ish breastplate that seems to be covering the inside of what is very much a larger frame. He is wearing clothes, well, mostly clothes. He's wearing pants and shoes. And he stands very tall. You could probably guess maybe 7 or 8 feet tall. So you're craning your head to look up at him a little bit. And as you can see in the the lower half, you see that he's wearing boots. These boots just seem to be your average run-of-the-mill adventuring boots, but they look to be very nicely clean and well-fitted. But there's nothing particular that stands out aside from one thing, with the bag, obviously. But the one thing that does stand out on his body is that on his back you see something that has a handle sticking out. That's like holstered. But the entire actual whatever it could be is covered in burlap. Outside of that, he looks like a very run-of-the-mill automa that you've seen before. And as Rayleigh has explained, he is very much of the servitor kind, where you can still kind of see some of the gears turning, like when he moves his arms, in the little cracks, where that breastplate is not hiding it. And you can actually see the pistons moving where his... whenever he flexes his arms, you can see those just covered by run-of-the-mill vambraces that were made to make up a thicker forearm, but you can see the gears and pistons moving as he moves his arms and his hands. Yeah, that's essentially his full description. Anything else specific that you are looking for in this man?
Marqui, that's about it for him. He nods as he gets ready to essentially wrap up their little meeting.
Okay.
Well, we did our part. That's really about it on our end. I think we'll leave the rest to you and the guards. Yeah.
Yes, I think that would be for the best, but I must know, Mercon Silverbrook. Who is... Oh, not sorry, who is... you said molester for this Jeff Firesworn, correct?
That would be the term for the crime that he committed, yes.
Who did he molest?
He did physically invade Bo's privacy in a way that is most distasteful and definitely criminal. Mercon nods as he hope he's following.
He's like slowly nodding. Bo, do you mean the colloquial nickname given to many people by Beatrice Feglarucci, correct?
That's the one. Mercon's kind of like just he's a little ready to leave, but he's trying very hard to just at least move this along.
He will nod to you. I shall make note of this in the criminal database, and I will ask the mayor if they want to create a foundation for a case for Beatrice to press charges. Thank you for this input, Mercon Silverbrook.
Great. So anything else you need us to do, possibly as soon as possible, as in right this second and fast?
He slowly brings his hand to his chin in thought as he's tapping it. That is a very good question.
I'll let you think of that while we get going.
He's slowly turning to you as you're saying, did you find the... And he's it's trailing off as he's slowly turning around to talk to you as you're walking out.
Mercon's like, okay, we have to get going. We're in a bit of a rush. We got some more work to do. All right, you have yourself a good rest of your day, Julius.
You have a good day. And it's just trailing off. All right, so you you exit the holding cells, and essentially you are free to do what you want to do next. So what's the plan?
Mercon kind of takes a deep breath and wipes his brow, and he goes, "Oh, all right, that was not end the way I thought it was going to." And he kind of looks back to see if Julius is still in earshot, or if he thinks he might be clear
you
to
don't
talk.
see him.
Really. Okay. Shadow barks. You said they sounded familiar in some way, right?
He gives a nod.
Okay. Any idea who they are, or what they want, or what they've done in the past?
I believe I've heard their name back in Londor in association to some necromantic related groups. I don't recall too much of the details. It was a long time ago, I think.
More necromancy. I'm gonna get really tired of hearing on the name of a necromancer at some point. Okay. Mercon kind of rubs his face. I think while we have daylight, we should probably do some sort of research on this, see if there's anything we can pull from this. On top of the tracks we found in the woods, and now hearing about this brigade, and them possibly having their hooks on Julius, this is going to be something I think is enough substantial work for me to at least find something from this.
You hear a cough behind you as you see Ogren walk up. Not to mention there's also the whole, skeletons and potential demon cult happenings as well. That might be remnants. That's also a problem.
Mercon kind of touches where he got hit before.
You good, by the way, Mercon?
Oh, film's fit as a fiddle. No worries about me. listen, I've done a lot worse to my body than you would imagine. And let me tell you, I'm pretty sure it's going to get even worse here. So the last thing we need to do is go into this unprepared, blind as bats. I think the best thing we can do for ourselves is just to get ready to study on and find what we can before we look into this.
Right. So if that's the case, which direction do you guys want to take this then?
Whatever direction we take, we should be discreet about it. We don't know if there are others in league with this group.
Indeed.
Well, with what he said about the, the branch of information this will lead through, if it goes to Julius, it's going to go to the council. If it goes to that blowhard, it's going to go to the council. Either way, we don't want to keep them having any kind of connection towards the council so that Julius picks up whatever information he can give to this weird arms man that we're dealing with. I say we do our own research, keep quiet to ourselves, and tonight I'm going to follow Julius and see where he goes at night.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
But firstly, I think I should better prepare myself for something like that. I might need to do a little more, let's say, equipment prep before I go on with that. Which means I may have to go back to the shop. Which I will do when we go get our money.
Oh yeah, almost
So
forgot
this-
we're getting paid.
The information
What a
that
time.
what's her face? Rose stuff?
Yes.
Rose stuff prepared for us.
Oh,
Say that
yeah,
again,
let's-
Rayleigh. I'm sorry. I
Wasn't it like?
blanked.
Wasn't it? Because like the day before we went to report the stuff to Rose
Mhm.
stuff, like with the charter, and then
Yes.
we like mentioned, oh, like the demon stuff, and then she was like, oh, well, there are some old records that the league has, but like they're secured, so let me grab
Yes.
them for you.
Yes, so Rose Dove was basically securing access for you to access like essentially like high profile shit that they don't want destroyed, which is why she said that's kind of locked away. So she said she would have those ready for you along with your money when you head back to the Grand Guild Hall.
No, that's right. I was supposed to get those too. That might help us even further. And he looks over to Leonin. You ready to do some reading that we were supposed to have done back at the manor with Father?
That's about bloody time.
At the mention of reading, Raylick's tail is just wagging, and he looks a bit more excited.
Murkon was about to open his mouth. There was a little bit of something in his eyes as he looks over to Rayleigh. Then he stops, and like his face kind of falls flat. He goes, "All right, yeah, let's Rayleigh, go do as much reading as you need to."
Nerd alert.
You mean that I can read over the documents that Rostov is preparing for us?
Well, maybe I'll be there to, grant some insight with my, sort of profession, but I'll at least wait for you if you want. Kind of like clasp his hand together. Leonin can see Murkon. Oh, go ahead.
That would be much appreciated. He's just excited.
Leonin can see Murkon looks kind of like a little more nervous. As if something has changed. Especially his demeanor to Rayleigh.
Is Leo allowed to notice this?
No, absolutely. That is a brotherly, like, he knows Murkon's being weird now.
He just like walks up, just like, okay, what's going on?
Oops. He goes, I think I'm gonna find some different materials when it comes to talking with Rayleigh for time being.
He just pats him on the back, just like, hey, give him a chance.
Oh yeah, the chance with the fire and the brimstone or whatever the hell went on in that room. Yeah, absolutely. I'll give him a chance.
At least it was useful for us at the time.
You know, let's keep it that way.
Awkward just casually clears his throat. So, we going to the guild hall then, or are we just gonna twiddle around with our thumbs up our asses?
Just like claps his hands. Guildhall it is, I suppose.
You know, you want more money to spend on alcohol. Let's get going.
Damn right. All right. So, with an excited Rayleigh in tow, you guys head over back to the guild hall. And as you do, you enter Hunter's Charter, and you see a familiar-looking dwarf that you have met previously, along with Rose Dove. They're talking at the, in the small lobby area. And when they see you enter, Rose Dove smiles and approaches you. Oh, it is good to see that you have arrived. We were wondering how long you would be, and we weren't sure if you would ever show up, considering. But I'm sure you have already met Miss Bloodsworn, yes? And she motions over to the dwarf, who once again nods to you and smiles. Believe one of you actually said hi to her, but I will show another picture again.
I believe it was Marcon who at least, gave her, a hello of some sort, not like a verbal one, but in probably like a gentlemanly nod or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey.
She didn't actually speak to any of you, though. But she does approach. So I was told about your expenditures that you all gained through this little contract, and I thought it was necessary to up the ante a little bit, considering you did not kill the bear, which would have disrupted the ecosystem, which would cause a lot of damage in, let's just say, the rest of the ecosystem. Would drive down trade for Bright Willow, which they do. So, considering that, and considering that you did it without causing any actual casualties, aside from what you may have gained, I decided that the Merchants Guild would be willing to give you lots of bonus. So, and she motions over to a chest. We have decided to award you lot with a nice little sum. And as you can see, and she does point out that there are a couple of bags on the ground as well. Your own spending purses, if you'd like. So, you are being awarded, technically each of you, for your whole sum, 1 chest of gold crowns, which is essentially 1,000. Each of you get 1 because it's a lot of gold. And on top of that, your bonus is 5 bags.
Damn!
You're basically being given 1,500 gold each.
Call that cash money.
5 bags and what else?
1 chest.
1 chest and 5 bags.
Yes.
Each of us?
Yes.
Oh
Damn.
yeah. Uh-huh.
God damn.
So
Cash
dormant
Monday.
shit. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know what industry this place has, but they're rolling in the cash.
Well, this is
Here
coming
comes the
directly from the
money.
Merchants Guild, Rayleigh, which you would know is the reason why this country stays afloat to begin with.
Good shit.
So clearly some strings were pulled and Janessa might have been persuaded to have you guys properly rewarded for going through the effort to not only deal with the bear, but get the politicking out of the way where others have failed. So there's definitely something going on that you could ask about if you'd like. But otherwise you will get 1 chest and 5 bags.
Murkon definitely was a bit, after salivating a little bit over the money, kind of clears his throat. That was quite a generous amount of, incentives we've earned here. I feel like, there's more to what we've done than maybe we're led on. I figured there's, just out of curiosity, just wondering where all of this is really coming from in terms of the level of appreciation. I think it's great. I never ever want to look, the gift in the mouth, but
Well,
it's just-
if you must know about the specifics, Mr. Mercon. That bear has been causing quite a bit of problems, so to speak, for Bright Willow. It has been disrupting trade. It has been accosting travelers that wish to travel from here to the other regions of, well, all of Zion for that matter. And lots of things have slowed down because of it. Because of your interference, and because you did straight up kill it like the rest of the adventurers did, not only did you save the ecosystem of Bright Willow's forest so that it can flow naturally and the bear can live normally, but you also re-established trade. You re-established livelihood. You gave jobs back to people that need them, and now money can flow like the rivers that surround this place. And I can tell you for certain that if the rivers flow in Zion, you best be damned that they be flowing with gold. She smiles at you.
You don't say.
I'll certainly say.
Murkot, go ahead and roll a knowledge check, and this will not earn you hope, or it will give me a fear. It's just a general knowledge check.
All right.
Well done. So, in your studies of not only knowing monsters, but in your studies of the region that your father was particular, that you learned more than Leo because you were a jester and you're studying under the jester tutelage to get in the social hierarchies. You know that Zion's a very rich region. It is one of the richest regions in the country outside of Varn. Of course, Varn being the capital. And that is a common statement made by the Merchants Guild that are stationed in Zion. When the rivers flow, it flows with gold. Zion is called the Golden Lands for a reason. Not only is it fertile, it's rich in resources, it's rich in economy, rich in people, and you will get paid a lot for jobs that start in Zion from contractors that are in Zion, more than any other region in the country. I could probably change the music now.
Sure. Yeah, Murkon, grinning ear to ear, has his hand behind his back after kind of securing, whatever he could on his person for the crowns. Well, I must say this is definitely the first time I've experienced such hospitality in terms of the sayings of the Zion people, and I must say, if you ever need more help in the future, I'd be more than happy if we ever cross paths again to lend our aid in any way that we can. I will say this was definitely a very good start to that, if that was what we're expecting. And I think it would be of great use for me as my, along with my work, if I learn a little more about the people around here and see where I can land on my feet, if I can put it more as forward as possible.
Rose Dove does smile at you when she hears that.
It would be an honor to work alongside you for however long you wish to stay in Bright Willow. If once we actually get more jobs available, we'll be more than happy to provide them for you. Granted, your house does work with the charter and all.
Janessa does smile at you as she just dips her head.
We of the Merchants Guild are very well aware of House Silverberg work on. Wherever there is a contract that needs to be doing, we have no doubt that your house will provide and the most efficiency that we expect. And you will be paid for such efficiency, as long as there's no dirty dealings along the way.
And she, holds up a hand to her chest and, makes crosses her fingers.
On my honor, of course. That would never happen for me. An honest merchant, as much as I can spend. Which is quite a lot.
And, she chuckles at her own little stupid joke. But, she does not. Regardless, as long as you do work for the Charter, and the League for that matter, you will be well compensated. Here. And she, points at the ground when she's, motioning here, as in Bright Willow.
I find that most agreeable then. And Murkon nods as he kind of looks back to the group before settling his eyes back, waiting to see if anything else were to happen.
Anyone else comment on that? Silence is a no. All right. So, as you collect your gold, Vixen, I don't know if you're back. I saw your mic flicker. That's a no. Cool. As you all collect your money and put them in your respective places, which it is quite a bit, I will say. But Janessa does leave, seeing that her task is done, and Rose Dove does look towards you.
So, I did also collect the tomes, the annals that you wanted to learn more about the demon coven that was infecting our town. Do you still have an interest in this, yes?
Most assuredly, yes, we still have quite an interest in that.
Indeed.
Good. I can't bring them out of the vault, considering that they are very high priority, but if you go over to the Adventurers League and ask for them, Flood has already been notified that I have given you permission to peruse the selection.
Okay.
Murkon nods at this as he looks back to Rayleigh, ready to see if he's ready to go and check out this what they got.
He looks so ready. He's just like, his eyes are saying, let me at him.
Sounds like Donkey Kong.
Let me in. Let me in.
Okay. So she does direct you towards the Adventurers League once you guys are ready.
I am so ready.
All right, cool
Same.
beans. So you guys head on over, and you do see Flan at the front desk. You see him twirling some magic in his hand as kind of idling, just kind of bored. But then he hears the door open. He snuffs out the flames and turns to you. Oh, well, welcome back. What can I do you for?
We're here for the archives, as Rosda would have explained before.
Oh, right. Yeah. She did say that you guys were heading over today. Yeah. It's in the same place. I gotta go through a separate door, so just follow me down to the vault. He'll motion you to follow through the same passageway that you traveled before when you were getting your new digs. And as you do, you go through the whole process. He opened the door. He opens the vault itself. And then in the back, hidden behind some armor, you see another doorway. But it doesn't seem to have a knob. And you see him do a pattern that he does really quickly in a weird thing that it looks like some kind of arcane letter. But as he does this, he makes the motions in a very quick succession, and the wall opens up. The little non-existent doorway expands into a set of ornate dark oaken double doors. And he snaps his fingers as they open with a... And as you look inside, you see a massive library. And this is where we're going to take a quick break. Welcome back to Fractured Shadows. Learning, schooling, potentially gaining of knowledge. Knowledge, very important. So, as you guys head back into the vault, and you get this large passageway that opens up for you to these ornate doors, you step in and you see this very, very large library, almost comically large, as it seems to extend outwards into the greater parts of places that your render distance is only 100 feet. It goes to 1,000 here, essentially. It's very vast. And you see that it's sectioned off in several different areas, where the area that you see is currently rather small. You see that they're sectioned off in these little branches that are very much covered by wooden gates and fences, or they're kind of see-through, so you can see the library past it, but you clearly cannot go further. And as you go in, Flan introduces you to the library. Well, welcome to the Manadine archives. Based on what we know, what we kept for this particular set of, annals, we decided to use the Institute's personal library, and they made a little corner for Bright Willow, considering some stuff happens. Considering I'm also a member, they gave me the pass, and, we got our little section here, so don't abuse it. And be careful. We may have the smallest section in the Manadine archives, but there are still a couple of things that might be quirky here and there. So I'll be by the door if you need something. I gotta kind of keep it open and close it when you're done, so yeah. And he casually inspects his claws. Any questions, or are you good to go?
No, we'll do our best to behave. Isn't that right, Rayleigh?
He's just standing there, mouth agape, starry-eyed.
Rayleigh, similar to what Murkon did previously, go ahead and roll a knowledge check. You will not gain a hope if you succeed, and I will not gain a fear if you fail.
Knowledge.
Is this related to a particular place?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is a particular place that you've only heard stories of. Okay. So, it's making you a bit teary-eyed because you actually are able to gain access to this the first time. And the reason why it's making you teary-eyed is in most successful fear rolls, it reminds you of your family. You recall that one of your sons was accepted into the Manadine Institute of Arcane Phenomenon, or MEOP for short, as you already know. And he is the one that went to study as a clerk like you. But being accepted in MEOP means he also gets to study laws related to magic. And what you do know about the Institute is that they have the largest library available to them that acts as a pocket dimension that in terms of lore, essentially is the repository for the god of magic himself, Manadine. And you aren't entirely sure how it came to be, but allegedly this place, which was refounded by the Institute, was his personal library. And that's why it looks endless, almost. But you do see your little sectioned off area where it does seem fenced in, and it's still a pretty large repository for what you got, but it does bring tears to your eyes as the memory does hit, and you actually you get to see it for yourself. Maybe you might find your son here, who knows?
Yeah, no, exactly that. I feel like a singular tear goes down his face as he's still mouth agape. But eventually he's like, I've only heard stories of this place. My son, he joined me up and gained access to this library. And his gaze kind of goes wistfully off to the side. Perhaps there's a chance that I could encounter him. It's been some 15 years since I've seen my second-born son, Joss. I hope he's doing well.
Well, he might be lost in the books. Maybe we go look around and find him in them.
He did love books. He read through them as quick as Matilda and I could obtain them. If there was a place he would be, I can see why he would love this place.
You do recall that a lot of your clerk conversations were with Jos. And that's why he gained a lot of interest in this. So, regardless, bittersweet memories aside, not as bittersweet as the other memories you've had recently, you do make your way into the library. And as you do with Flan by the door, you do go down a couple of rows, and there are smaller shelves that do seem to have, like, you know, picture books, like very much a kids section. Kind of almost looks like a school library where you see like chapter books on studies, some entertaining novels that are kind of strewing the shelves, and it's a very, very small section. But then as you get close, you see a desk that appears right in front of you in the more broader space as this ghostly, faceless figure just appears out of a chair, and he kind of wobbles back and forth before he takes shape for a moment, and it does appear to give a very basic, almost like a comedy mask, a sorrowful mask look, but its face does look like it's moving along with the mask as it's just this black shadow. May I get your name, please?
Alan Rickman?
Say that again.
Alan Rickman?
And he's like, this creature is looking to each of you.
Mercon Silverbrook?
Silverbrook, pleasure to have you again. And he looks over to Leonin.
Again?
Mercon just shrugging.
Leon and Silverbrook.
Again, Leonin Silverbrook, pleasure to have you again.
Just looks at his brother like, what's his problem?
He looks over to Raylig.
Raylig, Keith.
Raylig, Keith, pleasure to have you again. And then look over to Akuji. As Akuji says her name, Akuji, it is a pleasure to have you for the first time. And he'll look between, you see the eyes that are, just empty sockets of this mask face, turn to look both at Leonin and Mercon at this empty black void. Look at you both at the same time. Yes, Silverbrook. We are aware of his presence here. Vladimir Silverbrook. Saradis Silverbrook. The Silverbrook family is well known in the archives. You will do well to uphold their reputation. And then I'll turn to Raylig. As well as the Keefe family. And he'll just like shrink back down, and he's now your size instead of like looming over all of you. I am the auditor. If you have a question or are looking for something specific, I audit the records to know where they exactly are located.
Mercon kind of like clears his throat as he thinks more, really more to just what's going on here. And he just goes, yeah, in that case, we're here to peruse through some of the archives for the demonic incident in Bright Willow.
Yes. The tragic incident at Bright Willow Haven nigh 5 years ago, recorded by none other than Rose Dove of Londor herself. A terrible day for Bright Willow Haven. A series of events that cannot be undone. Which volume are you looking for?
How many volumes are there?
There are 3 in total. They are bound to this place and cannot be checked out, I should inform you. You already knew this.
As we expected. I suppose we'll just start with the first volume.
Very well. The beginning investigation of the demonic coven of Bright Willow Haven. And you see him point in a direction. Head due east and you will find the section that is barred by a gate. It has 3 books in there. The first volume will be unlocked for you.
Do we have to come back for the other volumes? We can't just...
Are you interested in all 3 volumes, Mercon Silverbrook?
Yeah, all... Preferably, as long as we're given granted access to them, might as well piece together as many as we can.
Very well. And you see a point again. Once again, due east by a gate that is labeled Bright Willows Collective. You will find the volumes that you seek. They will be unlocked for you. Please do not touch anything else. He immediately cuts you off. Anything else in the collective, please ask permission from me first so they do not react to you.
Not react. Okay. I will remember what that might mean then. Okay, we'll due diligence to not touch anything that will react. Thank you. Thank you. And he kind of like does like a weird nod.
The Manadine Institute of Arcanum Phenomenon and myself are not responsible for injuries or death that are pertaining to tomes that have existential power and dread within them. Please read them at your own caution and have a nice day. And he just kind of... He immediately shrinks back down into the chair and disappears, but the desk and the chair still remain.
Here I was about to sue.
You hear in your head, very funny, Leonin Silverbrook. You take after your brother.
It's just like... He just looks super weird out, just like, bruh.
Burkhardt is just like, what the fuck?
That's specifically in your head, Leo, by the way.
Yeah, I figured.
God. Burkhan takes his leave. He heads for the Bright Willow Collective.
All right. So, following his directions, which were very vague, you do head due east in this small little library that is sectioned off, and you do eventually find a nice little iron gate that is now open for you, and above it there is a very ornate sign in gilded letters that says The Bright Willow Collective. And inside, it's a darker room. It's not as open. It's very closed off, perhaps on purpose. You look up, there's an endless darkness in the ceiling, but you do see several candles floating around. You see only a small selection of shelves that go up, and many of these shelves appear to be gated off with a lock on them, including some of the tomes that you see that are also locked. And you appear in front of a table that has several books lined out. One of them says The Demon Coven of Bright Willow Haven, Volume 1, 2, and 3, that have the locks off and easy for you to pick up and read. There are several other books along the table that seem to be pertaining certain events as well. You see something that says The Necromancer of Bright Willow Haven, and then right next to it you see The Lich of Bright Willow Haven, and then a couple of other things that seem to be on the table as well that you can't see due to the darkness.
I feel like we're getting a little bit of information cut out from us we might even need here. I mean, look, the Lich of Bright Willow. You know about that at all? Like, I feel like that'd be kind of relevant to what we're looking for. Don't you all think?
It very well may be, and if it's here then, all the better for us to read it.
Alright, guess we're not supposed to touch anything, but we can at least start with the volumes here.
Okay.
And he'll start with volume 1.
All right, so Murkon. This is going to be a just how much information you can actually retain, because when you do pick up the book, there does seem to be a bit of a hum in your hands. It seems to be enchanted in some way. So go ahead and roll a knowledge reaction. Essentially a knowledge save.
Okay. Would my Monster Hunter information come into play with this at all?
Go ahead and show it to me again.
Let
me check here.
He is specifically picking up any information he can find from this that would allow him to hunt any of the demons and pick up any information regarding that.
I would say for volume 1, no.
Okay. That is good to know. I'll just roll normal. And of course, I will give the book over to Rayleigh after he peeks through that. Again, he's really just kind of...
Murkon, as you open the book, you start to skim through. And to the rest of you, you see Murkon skim through and he's just staring, and you see a very, dim glow shine over his face. And as he's skimming through, the pages just go really, really fast. Murkon, you get a headache as you're reading this book. And you can't pick up a lot of it because it just seems to be jumbled memories of what seems to be having been witnessed, as you're essentially looking into the book and you're seeing the very sparse first-hand accounts of a perspective. You see someone lying on a table with a knife that looks bloodied, and there is a symbol that is carved onto their chest. You see a woman with dark hair that has a symbol in a very circular formation drawn out on her back in blood. She is chained up, spread eagle style, to 2 different posts in a dark room. You see dark robed figures pointing weapons in your direction. And as you're getting these brief, essentially images of what's going on, the book shuts and you blink and you get a headache. Give me 1 stress for me, please.
Murkon, definitely looks stunned in a, almost like he just got, flashbanged. And he, blinks and goes, ah! And he holds the book over to Rayleigh. That's a very hard book to read in a... Just be careful with it. And he hands the book over to Rayleigh.
He takes it, still very eager.
Go ahead and make your knowledge reaction check, please.
Would his live action scribe experience apply to this? I should probably rename it. But basically,
live action scribe.
He can write fast, he can read fast.
Oh my god, that's such a great experience.
That name is
While stuff's happening, he can document it fast.
Yeah, I think this would actually work here, yeah.
That's great.
Okay. Knowledge reaction roll. And holy crap, I feel like I've literally never used an experience. What do I add?
So in this case, when you make the reaction roll, you're spending a hope to use your experience, and it will pull up. So it says you're using one
Oh,
of the
nice. I
experiences.
see.
Yeah. Okay. So, Rayleigh, as you open the book, you are reading it, and you actually it seems to almost acknowledge you as a fellow peruser of information, much more than Murkon's experience, unfortunately. And you start to flip through, and it goes through slowly, and you get a couple words that Rosedove actually wrote down, specifically highlighting that the Demon Coven were a group of witches that were in Bright Willow Forest before Bright Willow Haven was established. And for some reason or another, they reemerged from wherever they came from and started spreading a lot of mischief and gained a cult following due to the change in the world during the midpoint of when the era of innovation started. And she even notes down that this is a theory, not a fully fledged, credible source. And as you start to flip through, you do see eventually that in order for me to properly display what has been going on, I have pulled the memories and thoughts of survivors that have been willing to come forward through this book. To readers of this, please be mindful of what you might see. The images are disturbing. And with your knowledge and, through hardiness in this, you flip the next page, and the first thing you see is a POV shot of you strapped down to a table with... I'll change the music for this. You strapped down to a table. You're fully naked, but you're not a fawn. You're a human. And you're struggling against some restraints. And you see that there are these darkly hooded figures that you can barely make out the faces. And you get this feeling, this dreaded sense of trepidation and just general fear and dread as they are about to bring a knife down to your chest before the one that holds the knife, their entire head explodes. As you see the other two quickly face the direction of where it's coming from before a bolt of ice slams into one's chest, and then a barrage of arrows slams into the other. And you see the familiar faces of Tilly and Dandy, who have rushed forward. Tilly is the one wielding a bow, and Dandy is hovering some spells in front of his face as they both look significantly younger. You see Tilly muttering something to you before you eventually pass out. You flip another page, and you look down to see that you are in the perspective of a woman. And you see that your hands are made of vines, and you feel this sense of worry as you rush forward. And as you do, you see the same thing that Murkon saw, which was this woman spread eagle with chains, a large circle upon her back. And this time it gets more clear. There's dark hair, dark skin, and the perspective of the woman that you're in flicks a couple of spells as the chains fall, as she catches the dark-skinned woman in her arms, and you look down and you see Jezerine, bloodied, battered, broken, and very, very tired. Thanks, Rose. I didn't think I'd see you again. And the memory fades. And you are brought back to reality as you got to see a full picture of what people were dealing with, rescuing people from the cults and seeing what they're dealing with. And then as you quickly continue to go through, the words start to move too fast, and you also get a headache. But before it affects you too much, you close the book, which I will say does not give you a stress point.
He slams the book shut, and his journals immediately open as he's writing down as much as he captured from the book. This book had quite a lot of information. It seems that it contains memories of survivors of the demon cult and our previous traveling companions, Tilly and Dandy. They were there. They participated in the rescue of some survivors.
Murkon pauses before he goes towards the second book. Lily, he turns around. She was there?
Yes, they looked younger, but still quite skilled in their combat.
Murkon. Yeah.
The last thing was that the Coven appears to have been a group of witches who were there before Bright Willow Haven was established. But why they appeared again is unsure. There's some theories listed, but that's all they are. He'll, dot the last sentence as he jots all his notes down.
Murkon, a bit more hesitant than before, goes towards the second book. This time again, kind of aiming towards trying to pull as much information on what they're dealing with monster-wise.
Okay. Murkon, as you open this book, unlike the last time, this one opens slowly, and there doesn't seem to be any magical effect like the first one. However, if you wish to go ahead and skim it, you can. I will ask for the same check. It's going to be a knowledge check. Once more, again, no hope is going to be expended, unless, of course, you use an experience, and I will not gain a fear.
Okay. Is Monster Hunter prevalent for this book?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. That is what I will use.
Well done.
I didn't... Oh, I don't think it's spent, but you know what? I'm okay with that.
I will say that because it is a critical, you clear your stress, and we'll say that for the fact that you were using Monster Hunter, you don't have to spend a hope. So, with that in mind, Murkon, you're locked in on this one. You are dialed in on this book to find specifics, and thankfully, there is this time a bit more. You can tell that this one was made to be published more than just like a journal. And you see there's a table of contents, and one of the contents reads, aside from intricacies of the coven and potential casualties, you do find essentially an index. And the index, you find the word bestiary. Because it was written by Rose Dove, you flip to the page that says bestiary first, and it is in fact near the back of the book that labels a small bestiary of creatures that they encountered during the time of this little issue that they had. And you find a variety of demons. You have never seen these before in your entire life. You've heard about them based on the teachings of your father, but you have never laid eyes on them, and they are a variety. They seem to be very well illustrated portraits of creatures that have horns, claws, seem to be wielding spears of some sort, seem to be wielding other crude-looking, keyword looking weapons. Some of them seem to be larger, some of them seem to be smaller. But when you get to finishing that part, about 2 pages in, there are lesser demons and then there are greater demons. You see that area is blank. And you see a small excerpt in there that says, "Thank the gods there were no greater demons present during this culling." Murkon,
Mm-hmm.
with your knowledge of monsters, and because the crit, you don't have to roll again. A culling is a specific word that is used when it comes to demon interferences specifically, that they are essentially trying to reduce something down by some means via population. You know, based on this check, that these are typically unprecedented and rare, but they are coordinated. And it brings up a memory. Brings up a memory of you witnessing someone coughing in a little dinky room in a house that you lived in a town that no longer exists. And then you're brought back to reality for the time being.
Not back to
Murkon, he looks at the book. His eyes glued to it much longer than before, unaffected as he was beforehand, but you can see that his intense focus he had in the book as he read through it has kind of turned into a more glossy, harder expression on his face as he doesn't let go of the book, but he doesn't seem to really want to hold it anymore.
see anything.
Yeah. Yes, I did. And he puts the book down and kind of walks back away. Not really minding his business as he kind of just like leans away from the books. I'll leave the third up to you all. You might want to check that still, Ray Lake. There's other things besides what I was looking for.
Murkon. Hold on. Murkon, because of what I told you, and considering it is a big story moment, if you want to give yourself a stress point, you can, but the option is yours because you did roll a critical.
I think. You know what? We're yo-yoing stress like goddamn yo-yo. Let's do it. I'll give him a stress.
All right, very well. You guys see Murkon back away from the books.
Very well done. Perhaps you could ask the archive keeper if we can look at the books related to the necromancy and lich.
I think I will. Yeah. And Murkon steps out like right away.
Okay. Murkon leaves you guys to the final book and, well, this small little section of the collective.
I feel like Rayleigh is looking between Leonin and like back to where Murkon left.
Leo looks a little worried for his brother right now.
Something in that book must have really upset him. The first book contained the memories of people chained to tables by the demon cult, perhaps. There was something of a similar nature that affected him.
Guess that makes sense. I don't envy you guys having to read that stuff.
Ogren does look towards you, Leonin.
I mean, you could take a look yourself, you know.
I feel like as Leonin was saying that, Rayleigh was like holding out the second volume to Leonin.
He's just like, all right, won't kill me, probably.
Pretty sure it would have killed your brother if it would, to be honest.
That is very true.
All right, so you take a peek inside.
Sure does.
All right, so good thing that Murkon rolled a critical. You don't have to roll for this one anymore. As you peek inside and you see where his little like thumbprints were, you quickly do the same thing he does. Go to the appendix, go to the section where it says bestiary, and you find the exact same thing that he found with the various demons. I don't remember if Leonin is versed in demons. I think you said he wasn't.
Not nearly as much of his siblings, no.
Right.
He's more of a natural monster.
Right. Like actual beasts, and even if they look fantastical, they're natural to the land. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you do see the same exact thing of these drawn out really things, and then you see the mention of culling. Specifically for culling, go ahead and roll me a knowledge check. And because you don't know anything about demons, that'll be at disadvantage.
Oh, nope.
Knowledge. This is a reaction, so you don't gain hope and I don't gain a fear. Okay. So you know very basics of what a culling is. As you've just kind of like caught your attention when your father, and more so Sardis, your older brother, spoke to you back in the day on these lessons, and that a culling is usually a raising of a town by a small demon force, and it is usually planned. They are very dangerous, and they typically take either a well-experienced group of adventurers or potentially an army to stop, depending on the size of the culling.
I see.
In reference to this, it was very apparent that, based on this book and the information you are given, that you didn't read the first part, which I would say is why it's lower roll. But this part, that apparently there was a culling that was going to happen to Bright Willow Haven that was stopped. And that's as much as you can get from that.
Gotcha. Shrugs as it doesn't seem to tell him what he didn't, or what everyone else didn't already seem to know.
Did you discern what may have upsetted your brother?
Seems like these demons, which not nearly as up to date on my demonic knowledge as my siblings, participated in some sort of coordinated event known as a culling.
Rayleigh, you know what cullings are, because there are similar events that you had to partake in. that are not callings, because those are specific to demons, that you participated in witnessing with the cleaners of House Saranova, the Sanita division. It reminds you of a little thing that you saw with them burning some corpses that might have not been completely dead. Something similar. Yeah, just go ahead and give me a stress point, please.
At the mention of the culling, Leonin sees Rayleigh kind of shrinking in on himself. Culling, you say? Those are indeed dreadful things.
Don't sound pleasant. And
Perhaps
judging by my
that's-
brother's reaction, it's not the easiest thing to get from him. They do sound especially brutal.
Yes. Perhaps let's read the last volume. Maybe there's something different in there. He's just like already grabbing at it, looking for a distraction.
It
Okay.
does not stop you.
All right. So Rayleigh, you open this book, and it seems a bit more difficult to open. It's a little lighter, so its appearances do deceive. I need you to roll a what's your magic? It's presence, right? Because you're a bard.
Yeah, presence.
All right, go ahead and roll me a presence on this book for me. Okay. As you try to open the book, it seems to crack open a little bit. But you're trying to get it hums in your hand similar to the first one, but as you're trying to like open it and you're struggling with it, like bearing down on the table to open it a bit more, it does slip from your hand and smack you in the nose and just lands face first back in its original place. You don't take any damage from it. It's just being very, very annoying for some reason.
Ah!
I feel like he was kind of shaking a bit as he was opening it. And then it smacks him and lands on the desk, and he kind of just stares at it for a good few seconds.
What?
It appears this tome does not desire to be read by myself. Perhaps you could give it a try.
Very well.
You did succeed in parleying with that bear back in the forest.
I don't think that means I can talk to books, but
Rather, I gathered that you seem to have a strong will about you. And he will rally with that. We'll try to.
he gives the
Help
thing
him
like a
out.
like. He gives the book like a look. It's like, okay, work with me here, buddy.
Okay, in this case, you have an extra d6. This bardic inspiration, essentially. So, Leo, go ahead and roll me an agility check. Since that is your spellcasting thingy-mabobber.
Agility? You mean, Oh yeah, there it is. Found it.
Yeah,
Plus what was it?
it's a d6.
1d6.
All right. Give me that fear, baby. So it in a similar vein to Rayleigh, it seems to struggle a bit in your grasp, but through your own willpower and staring it down, it does seem to wither a bit and then eventually does fall open for you to read it. And as you do, you are immediately hit with a memory that just smack dab in the face like a flashbang, as you are in the perspective of someone wielding a set of dual swords. And you see very bodacious clothing that you're wearing that's frilly. You see that your skin is a very light blue, and there are a couple of markings across your arms. And before you, you see Rose Dove to your left. You see Antoine wielding a crossbow to your right. And you actually see the entire council of Bright Willow Haven. And then you hear from your mouth, as you're staring down, a haggard old woman where there are two other corpses on either side of her. That looks very like old. There's like several bumps on her nose, very typical witch. She looks like a crone.
Oh hell yeah.
And you hear out of your mouth, "That's about enough from you, lad. Don't you think? We had enough of this curse. We have enough of this. These demons have been running amok." And you start to realize that you are in a memory of Sebastian.
Interesting.
I'm giving you a little bit of clemency here. We will find the proper healers for your sisters, but you leave this place now and do not return. And you see the witch smile and grin.
I would rather die than be forced out of my home from people who do not belong here. I curse this land with my final breath.
And you see her take out a dagger before she stabs herself in the throat and just tears as her laugh echoes and starts to gurgle very violently as she eventually does just fall slack backwards. And then you hear Sebastian mutter a curse in a language you do not understand.
I really wish they didn't do that. I really hope they wouldn't. They would come see a reason.
And you see Lilandros pat him on the shoulder.
It's fine, Seb. Hey, you've tried, and that's all that matters. It's a shame, but there's nothing we can really do now. Right. Well then. Rose, I'll donate this to the book you're writing. Whatever volume you're on.
Of course. And you see Rose Dove nod as some magic fades from her hands.
Let them know that I tried. I don't have a bad reputation of as is. Amongst many, I don't want this. My first job as Hallmaster to be like this. Fuck.
And then the memory fades. And then you do turn the couple of pages as you do see basically a conclusion of what happened. You see that about 26 people died in this incursion. The culling was thankfully stopped thanks to the intervention of the names are really bad with me. I'm so sorry. The intervention of the here somewhere. The Quicksilvers, which were the leaders at the town at the time, and you did see each of them including Julius, who you saw was wielding some kind of weapon that kind of looked like a gun, but looked really big. And you read through this little excerpt about like the conclusion, how the battle was fought and won. It was hard fought. They lost a couple of adventurers that were added to the total casualties. And there is a memorial near the center of town built in their honor for what was lost and what is yet to come. And that basically concludes that volume.
Bloody hell.
Did you learn anything of use?
I suppose. Seems like a lot happened back then. You'd give like a basic rundown of of the story that was just told.
He's just copying it down into his journal.
Give as much of an account as he can with what he was shown.
The last feeling that you felt in there, in Sebastian's mind, was grief and a sense of wishing that he could have done more.
That was what was going through his head the whole time.
If he feels that way, then perhaps he would be willing to share more about this occurrence. If he's not in league with whoever it is pulling the strings.
Worst case scenario, that.
And he will glance back the way they came. It's been a while. Hopefully your brother hasn't gotten lost in the archive.
Judging by the size of this place, that is a possibility.
Speaking of which, Murkon, if you are here, it would seem not.
Darn.
He got lost!
He did indeed get lost in the archives. The archives of Nethys. No, that is Pathfinder joke. Anyway, so with that being said, and done and did and dude, there are
Dusted.
done and dusted even. There are a couple of other books that are chained up. Despite the warning given to you by the auditor, are you going to try and look at them?
Just gives like an ominous look, just like, am I that morbidly curious?
Perfect time for the perfect music to come on.
Gee, that makes me feel like I'm in that frickin' mansion again. Yeah.
He's back.
Ah, welcome back. So, as I was saying, back to Murkon. Murkon, you are traveling back to the direction of the desk where the auditor sank into. Are you doing anything in particular while you're walking towards the desk?
He's thinking back really hard to everything from the moment he's talked to Beatrice about his current ailment to the night he lapsed in the loo, and then all the way back to the moment you remembered hearing, experiencing this kind of coughing before.
Mercon. Can you go ahead and roll me a check? I need to see. I believe it is a strength check.
Oh boy, my worst check.
Yippee!
I shall.
Okay. You're surprisingly fine. You feel a cough in the back of your throat and you let it out, and just some dust. Some dust. Just ugh. Ugh. Really kind
Okay.
of dusty in here. Oh, Jesus, didn't mean to do all that. However, Mercon, after you do that, you feel something hit you in the back of the head.
How hard? Like throwing him forward hard, or just like a bonk?
A bonk.
Okay, he turns around, like holding his head, just kind of like.
And as you turn around, you see a book lying on the ground, Mercon. And it definitely does catch your attention. It says The History of Calmet on it. Do you pick it up?
Well, firstly, Mercon's going to look around and see what source of possible, like, what could have thrown the book, if anything.
Don't see anything.
Mercon's going to then slowly crouch down and he's going to take in a deep breath. Remembering what was said before, but knowing something beyond what he understands is normal from beyond normal what experiencing. He closes his eyes, grits his teeth, and then opens it to then grab the book.
So you are touching it.
Oh yeah.
And you are opening it or trying to.
There's an attempt, yes.
There is an attempt. All right. All right, Mercon, go ahead and let's see here what makes sense. Go ahead and roll me a good old fucking let's see. Excuse me. Let's go with let's go with agility. Yeah, makes sense.
All right. That makes sense.
Okay. I heard the fucking the hand slam down.
Oh no, that was me going. Ooh.
All right, Mercon. So you open the book and it's blank. And as you open the book and close it again, you see that the title changed from The History of Calmet to The History of Biglow. And then you open it again and it's blank. And then you close it again and it says The History of House Silverbrook. You open again, it's blank. And
Freaky.
as you do, there's this feeling in your mind that something is... It's hurting, and it's like slowly welling up in your mind as you try to close it again, and you see that your hands are getting stuck to the page. And when you try to close it again, it refuses to shut. Go ahead and take... say... half of 12 damage for me. As you get this splitting migraine.
He like tries to grab his head from the pain, but he like because his hands are stuck to the page, he's like shoves the book into his head as he like his legs are buckling as he's trying to like rip his hands away from the book as quickly as he can.
And as you do this, when you tap it to your head, it then flies out of your hands and proceeds to clatter on the ground with the pages open. And you see it start to shake violently. Murkon, what is your greatest fear?
Oh. Murkon's greatest fear is a closed door.
It reminds me of one of those fuck-ass Harry Potter books. The one that bites you.
A closed door with a voice.
Okay. And what is this voice?
Anything. Anything that sounds malicious, anything that sounds living behind that door. As if the door itself is the monster.
Okay. Interesting. So the book shakes before it... and you see before you a closed door. It looks ornate. It looks similar to a manor's door. And everything else around you goes black. And you just see this door in front of you. And as you are looking at this door in particular, you hear what is the equivalent of your father.
Murkon, I'm not upset. Let us talk, father to son. You made a mistake, and I am willing to teach you, dear boy. But you cannot run and hide like you did back then. You are a Silverbrook. You can trust me, right, Murkon? You can trust me, Murkon.
And it's like shifting into a voice that you don't recognize. And it's...
Murkon's hands have been gripping the hilt of the weapons, and you can hear the metal of the blade clattering as his hands are shaking so bad it just causes it to just the entire time as he's holding on to his weapons. And his breathing is just getting harder and harder as he can't gulp down anything tangible to understand what's going on, except the raw fear that is suffocating him.
And as this voice continues to twist and turn, it gets an octave lower, and you can hear several voices speaking at once as you just hear
You can trust me, Mercon.
As it slowly opens into pitch blackness. Mercon, go ahead and roll me a knowledge save at disadvantage.
With pleasure. Can I spend a hope with my Monster Hunter experience to root himself into hopefully finding some grip on what's going on?
Sure, I'll say that. I'll say you can use it here. Okay. So, Mercon, you get this intense feeling that this chill goes down your spine. You're not sure why something like this would be in this kind of library. Maybe it just latched onto you due to the intense emotions. Maybe it latched onto you due to the fact that you're thinking about something really hard. It could be fucking anything. You're not familiar with what's in the Institute's libraries, but this is some kind of force that it really does seem to latch onto your fear. And you get the distinct feeling that with this bit of knowledge that you are able to steel yourself a bit, as it seems to be relying on your fear to make it worse. You succeed your save.
Mercon, at first, didn't even feel like he had legs anymore. He was rooted on the ground with such a deep set of fear that it was down into his heart. But then, as the voices taunt him, as the door opens into this black void, it goes from fear to a deep primal anger as he takes a shaky breath, and it starts to turn into just a deep growling. He then lets go of his short sword. He grabs into his bag and he pulls out the jar holding the blinding orb.
Okay.
And he grips it tight as he goes to grab the cork with his teeth. And he rips the cap off and he throws it right at the door to set off the blinding.
All right. Go ahead and post that item for me just so I see what it does.
Yes.
I can't get the cap off.
Oh my god. So you throw it at this door, and as you throw it off, it blinds you as well, seeming to wake you out of this stupor. And you just hear this as it like goes and fades away. And you wake up with a book on your face.
What, like on my back or?
No, you're like back. Sorry, you are on your back. You're like sprawled out on the ground, and there is just a book on your face. And as you feel it on your face, it seems to also just shrink away and shrivel as it kind of crumples off of your face.
Face down, ass up.
Why? Shut up.
Mercon looks around, hand back on his breaths as he looks and sees if anything else is coming at him, or any other sign of life, or his party members, anything else.
Nope. You're just on the ground. Book is crumpled up. There is no title to it. And you can see that it has very, very small teeth on the edges of the pages.
Murkon pulls out the weapon that he's gripping. And knowing the consequences, he lifts the weapon and goes, "Screw this," and he stabs straight into the book.
It does shrivel into dust. And then you hear a voice in your head.
Terribly sorry about that. They seem to get in here from the other planes from time to time.
Murkon takes as many shaky breaths as it takes for him to finally stop sweating. As he wipes his face and goes, "I want access to the Necromancer book and the Lich book."
Very well. Is this by chance the one that is also within the Bright Willow Collective?
Yes. Yes, those are the ones.
Right, then. Very well. The books are in the same location you found them, and they are unlocked.
And the voice fades as the presence does, and back where Leonin, Akuji, and Raylig are, as well as Ogren, you do see the latches, and they float over down and neatly in front of you as the chains that are wrapped around these books just kind of snake underneath them and disappear.
Freaky.
And the books are ready for you to peruse.
Thumbs up.
As soon as they land, Raylik jumps over there. And he's about to reach for one, but then he's like, "Should we wait for your brother? Maybe he wouldn't mind. There are 2 books, after all." He keeps glancing at the entrance to see if Murkon magically appears.
Yeah, even Leonin is anxiously looking that way.
There is a bit of a
Murkon?
walk, so it takes a bit.
Oh, Murkon doesn't return. He, after he hears that, he just goes, "Let him know it's unlocked." And Murkon, without saying anything else, is going straight for the exit to leave.
Okay. You would see Flan waiting for you as he gives you a nod. And he looks you over very briefly. Oh, are you okay? What happened?
Where's the bathroom?
You'll have to head up past the, Actually, hold on. And he'll very briefly, just snap his finger as a door appears. That should lead you to the bathroom, and when you come out, you should be in the main hall afterwards.
Murkon nods and makes his way to the bathroom and quickly shuts the door behind him.
Okay, and you are essentially in a typical bathroom for one person, locked door. There's a latch, and you are free to use it as needed.
Okay. If we're playing this out, he goes straight to the sink and runs the water to splash his face with as cold as he can get it, gripping the edges, and letting like the chills shiver his body until he's like finally let out a deep sigh of a mix of emotions.
All right, Murkon. As you do look up in the mirror, you see that you are a lot more tired than you realize. Go ahead and give me another stress point, please.
Murkon like touches his face around like his eyes to see like how much they've darkened, and the mess of hair that he's had is like now almost like wiry with how much sweat has come through. He like rips his hat off of him to like throw it on the ground to like try to like smooth his face out and his like hair. He takes like a dry swallow. Not gonna happen. Not to you. I'm not carrying that with her. I'm not carrying that from her. I don't want that. I don't want this. And he bows his head and just like keeps letting the shivers run through as he does his best to like catch himself as much as he can.
All right.
And he'll probably do that for the remainder of until the party at least gets on their way back.
Okay. So as you're calming down from your attack, the rest of you do not see Murkon return. And you actually hear Ogren pipe up.
He probably, maybe he's looking at something he found interesting. We should probably, take a look while he's doing whatever.
Very well.
No hesitation, just flings the book open.
All right, which one are you flinging open? Because there are two.
Let me
One
roll a
about
1d2, 'cause I
necromancy.
feel like you would just grab.
Yeah.
On a 1, it's the necromancy one. 8.
All right, so you do pick up the book that I believe I said was Necromancy in Bright Willow. And as you open the book, there's nothing special that happens, actually. You open the book and you see that it's basically a very deep, embedded lore bit about Bright Willow Haven and the usage of necromancy, and how it's been tied to a feud that happened when Bright Willow was founded between the people that founded it. One of them was a person of repute that their names were scratched out due to his essentially kind of like Voldemort. It's like he who shall not be named kind of situation. He did some pretty heinous stuff in Bright Willow to try and gain control over it, and the other people in the town did not like that. So they ostracized him from the community and basically banished him. There was a small, like, miniature war that happened in Bright Willow Haven where he was able to raise an army of the dead, and a bunch of heroes who were outside of the town stopped him. One of them being the official founder of Bright Willow, Lord Bright Willow, who was a Damari, which, knowing that you now know that Lilith Bright Willow is a Damari, that you kind of can put two and two together now, for sure. And with that in mind, you essentially go through how this attack kept happening, where the denizens of Bright Willow set up an adventurers league there to combat the undead, and then they eventually got the Hunter's Charter involved after that. Not set up, but involved, because they kept happening until the third time it happened. The old leader of this undead, who was now a lich due to a long period of like decades of doing this to Bright Willow, tried to do a full frontal assault on Bright Willow Haven to get what he thought was rightfully his. And the heroes concocted a plan to weaken him. And a very, very brazen and brash tale. You read how the heroes were able to compact him down into a crystal, and how this crystal essentially weakened the usage of necromancy in the area. And now, because it is a important part of it, that the crystal allegedly, as the story goes, is where his corpse, quote unquote, lies to this day, and is a monument to the heroes of old for Bright Willow Haven. As it kind of goes into this nuance about like good and bad, with necromancy being evil and whatnot, it then gives like a very brief description of what necromancy is, which you already know. And how, while necromancy is not inherently evil by nature, it has the capacity to corrupt people who are power hungry. And most often necromancers are given a bad light, such as this particular case here. It then says to understand more, look into the knowledge of the Lich of Bright Willow Haven.
And as he's reading it, he's relaying what he's learning in summary format as he takes notes to Leonin and Akuji. It's very polished, like he's done this thousands of times. The mention about necromancy not being evil necessarily, but having the power to corrupt his... He does pause for a moment before continuing in his reciting. But eventually he'll finish his notes and close the book.
You ever try being a teacher there? You sure seem to be getting into it.
I haven't been a teacher, no, but I was a clerk for some 50 plus years, and truthfully, I've been short on reading materials since I was let go from the House Saranova's employ, so I would be want to say that I miss it a little bit.
Can't fault you for that, I suppose.
It appears this is the ancestor of Lady Lilith. Perhaps we could discuss with her. Maybe she has more history on her family's deeds.
Not a bad idea. Marqui were here, maybe he could give some insight, but who knows where he ran off to.
And he'll look up, just realizing that Marqui is still not there. That is strange. Perhaps he found something else to read. And seeing the other book, he'll reach for it, but then remember his manners and look to Leon and Akuji and be like, do either of you wish to read this one? I wouldn't like to hog all of the reading material, much as I miss it.
As far as I'm concerned, go ahead, but if you want me to read it, I don't mind doing that either.
It's all you, Raylig.
Don't need to tell him twice. He'll open the next book.
And as you open this book, you see that it is a sickly green color with the image of a skull that apparently is very much iconography for what a lich would probably be. You see that the glow has some like stars in its eyes, as it has a very ornate-looking title, The Lich of Bright Willow Haven. And as you open the book, or try to open the book, you feel a similar issue with the third volume of the Demon Coven that was in Bright Willow. I need you to roll a presence check for me, Raylig.
Okay.
This time, the book escapes your hands and floats in front of you. And you see that it's like the mouth of the skull on the actual book cover is moving, and then it immediately hits you upside the head. Please take 1 point of damage.
Oh,
These are some saucy books.
As very, very much, the rest of you just hear a very loud.
He was just staring straight at it, kind of like, huh? Then as he's hit, his head just like comically snaps back, and he has a bloody nose.
Because you'll probably try and grab the book. To
Leo
stop
just
it from
growls,
possibly
just like,
hitting him
some
again.
of these books are just asking to become a kindling at this rate.
Akuji, you're gonna grab the book.
Yeah.
Okay, it is kind of floating, so go ahead and roll in this case for you, an instinct check for me.
Okie dokie.
Okay. You swipe it out of the air, and it seems to fight your grip for a moment before you glare at it. And it seems to wince before it just kind of weakly folds open for you. And Akuji, you see a tale. What this tale entails is something about a person of ill repute that once again is not named. And as you get further into it, as you start to see what this tale entails, what this thing on this lich is, and you get to the part about a crystal that is holding it as a prisoner, you get to a final part that says, at least as far as we know, for now. And the book just trails off very suddenly. And as you flip a couple pages, it just is blank. And it keeps going blank and blank and blank. And essentially what this tale entails, I keep saying, is this lich in Bright Willow basically recounts the same thing that happened in the other book that Raylig explained, but a bit more in detail, how he was allegedly a noble that used necromancy for good, to essentially talk to the dead that did not have the proper burials, to see how they wanted to be properly buried, bring them back very briefly to say goodbye to loved ones that they would find, and then have an actual funeral done for them in a way. That he was basically like a gravekeeper of sorts, but he noticed corruption in the town, at least he thought so, and he wanted to properly make sure everyone knew about it, but people didn't like that, so he rose up against them. Nobody liked him because of the necromancy, and he got really pissed off about it when he was banished, and he went into the woods. But that is essentially where the story and the history of it ends. And as you flip to a page, slowly you see the page kind of glow for a moment as it hits you in the face as a memory plays. And that's where we're going to end the session.
Oh, God damn it!
Intrigue.
All right. A little shorter, but hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you guys for watching. It will be up shortly on the channel. We will see you guys next time. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Night.
Bye-bye.
Later, guys.
Bye, peoples.